Joining us now, Chevron CEO Michael Wirth, and it's been just about a year, Michael, as CEO. Things are a good start, no doubt. You weren't new to Chevron. What, 30? How long? How many?
37 years.
37 years at Chevron. But what I found interesting was you were like a midstream, downstream guy in terms of operations, right? Not the upstream stuff. And you're much more frugal. And you know, if someone wants to go out and, oh, we're going to drill here, and it's going to cost this, you might say, okay, let's just make sure that this is going to, you know, have a return on capital, right? Is that part of your the way you're managing things now?
Well, I did grow up in our downstream business and our midstream business, where typically margins have been tighter, and
you gotta watch things closely. Right?
We work hard for every penny we earn,
right.
and so you're careful about every dollar you invest, and you really focus on returns. And I think that's a good way to run a commodity-based business. Because you have to be prepared for the cycles.
Do you get any complaints from the guys that still got the wildcatter instinct, or everybody's happy?
Well, we have to have a little bit of that in the DNA of the company. It's how things like the Permian Basin have become such a big part of our energy economy, but you have to do it with discipline.
Would you say that did you predict the last 5 years in the golden age of I don't know, I'm afraid to say the golden age of hydrocarbons because I'm so afraid of my carbon footprint might be too big. But did you see this coming, that we would be a net exporter and just this revolution we've seen?
Well, you know, the U.S. is an energy superpower in virtually every dimension, both supply, demand, conventional and renewable energy sources. It's really innovation and an economy that will allow capital flow to good opportunities and good ideas be tested. Some work, some don't. And that's been the history of our industry, and it's rewriting itself once again in the Permian.
In terms of just the technology, though, and the wildcatting instinct, it's a lot easier to really figure out where the oil is, where the gas is now than it used to be. It's not as much of a kind of hunt and peck and cross your fingers when you drill. Digital
technologies have changed everything in our business, and certainly exploration is part of that. The interesting thing with unconventionals like the Permian, we've known where that resource is for a long, long time, but it's been locked in rock that is very, very hard, and the molecules simply won't flow through it. And so the biggest breakthrough in energy technology in the last 30 years has not been in some of the things that have gotten a lot of attention, but it's horizontal drilling, it's hydraulic fracturing, and then it's the application of digital technologies to allow us to do a better job of unlocking the hydrocarbon that's in place there. And so it really has changed everything.
You weren't an English major.
I was a chemical engineering major.
I know, I saw you. It helps, doesn't it, to talk about I think in life it helps to have a bit of science or engineering in your background. In terms of how we should figure out the direction of let's say WTI or Brent or whatever it is, what's dictating that now? Because we used to think it was, you know, everyone, you know, body language in the Middle East, we'd see movement. Now it seems like we're more the swing producer, or it's a global picture still?
Well, it's still a global picture, and the difference between supply and demand, which are two very, very large numbers, at the margin, a small shift in supply and demand can change market sentiment. We saw that last year with robust growth in China and OPEC having restrained supplies. Prices gradually increased throughout the year. The prospect of Iran sanctions coming back and Iranian oil coming off the market really started to push prices up. And then, of course, when we had the waivers issued by the U.S. government at the same time as OPEC began to produce more, we had excess supply in the market, and you saw prices come off. So while the headlines may be different, the fundamental things that tend to drive our markets are more similar than they are different.
Michael, that's interesting. You point to China as the robust demand that they had there. Economists look at it and say, wow, the numbers are slipping, still 6.6% if you believe the headline numbers for growth. But how would you characterize China right now? Is the demand picture there really strong, or are we seeing a slowing economy there?
We still see good demand growth in China. The rate at which it grows every year, it couldn't continue to grow the way it has for the last 20 years indefinitely. And so it's, as the economies become larger, we're seeing the rate of growth slow, but the absolute growth in China continues to be something that in our markets we see, and demand has been robust. That's why we had record production last year. You talked about my first year in the role. It was a very good year. It was our safest year ever. We had our highest production ever. grew 7% on the prior year, and increased our dividend for the 32nd consecutive year, and we're able to repurchase shares. So all of that comes from a robust global economy and robust demand, and we continue to see that this year.
I mean, we hear a lot about, I don't know if Andrew's listening, but we hear a lot about social investing, and I know there's enormous amount of pressure on the majors to just either develop or move in a bigger way into renewables in whatever form you think of. Do you have to push back on that? Or do you embrace it? If you can get natural gas plentiful and so cheap, does it make economic sense to go into some of the other things that are 10 times more expensive in some cases, or what should you do?
Well, we're always looking to invest in technology and advancing the energy economy. Our company's been around for 140 years. When it began, we produced oil for lamp oil to replace whale oil, which was used for lighting, and it turned out that kerosene had a less smoky light. But we didn't produce gasoline for cars and airplanes because they didn't exist 140 years ago when our company first began. Today, we take natural gas and we freeze it and liquefy it for power generation around the world. So we invest in these technologies as the world moves forward. We invested this last year in electric vehicle charging technology and some new battery technologies, and in a direct carbon capture technology from the air. So we're looking for these things. The challenge with energy, the energy system is so enormous that the scale of it is, it's hard for most people to comprehend, and we need to have solutions that are economic at scale and affordable at scale without subsidies. That continues to be the challenge to meet growing demand and the expectations around the environment.
He runs an oil company, but you're still nice enough. You're not playing out here. You're caddying for Mrs. Wirth, basically. Right?
I am.
And you're okay with that? I'm not saying anything. I think that's great. I do. I think that's really, really nice. And you actually took credit for her great round yesterday too, which is.
Well, diversity and inclusion is important to our company, and I try to practice that at work and at home. And I'm married to a Division I college athlete. My daughter was one as well. And
I kind of feel like in life I caddy for my wife, just in general.
As you should.
Really? I do. It sort of just works that way. Would you, the economists, I don't know whether they ever know anything, but they say we need a carbon tax. They're all talking about a carbon tax now. Is that a way you'd approach this?
Well, the details matter on these things. We generally favor market-based mechanisms for regulation because they encourage innovation and efficiency. As carbon pricing schemes are discussed, we certainly engage in that conversation, but the policy details matter, and so we look forward to the conversation with people. But it's complicated.
What's a good one look like? What would
the principles that you hear people talk about would say we return the money to the people that pay it, so it doesn't just go into government budgets, which matters again because of the scale of the system. We're talking a lot of money. And then the other thing is there is a complex web of existing regulations that have been promulgated in this country and around the world. And the idea is that those would be retired in favor of market-based mechanisms because they're more efficient for the economy. And those are two big things that, from a policy standpoint, are not easy generally for politicians to agree to.
If you were trying to take back the White House, would you run on this new Green New Deal thing? Have you seen this?
We do policy, not politics.
We're supposed to be out of internal combustion engines within 10 years. No more flying around the planet. No more livestock. I just realized we're going to have kale bacon, which apparently you can make it crispy for Andrew. But have you read? I mean, have you looked into the details of this?
I'm all for healthy food.
You are just walking. You know what? You've gotten good at this really fast, hasn't he? Anyway, 37 years. It wasn't that fast, was it? Thank you, and good luck today to the team. Yeah. To the team.
We'll be out there. I'll try to give her the right club and read the greens well, and I look forward to seeing you out there.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Mike Wirth. I want to see you again back in New York as well.
Look forward to it.
Okay.